Well, a very good morning from Phuket, and as you can see the sun is shining. It is Tuesday the 24th of September, it's our day off, and today I've got a busy day planned. First job of the day is taking Shadow out down to Yon Beach. We normally try and take her every week. She didn't go down there last week because she was ill. I'm going to be discussing a little bit about Yon Beach because it is one of the last unspoilt beaches in the south of Phuket, which I feel is about to change because of development that's going on down there currently. Then after that, when we come back, we're then going to make our way over to Beach, where I'm going to be doing some filming of some accommodation, and then once that's done, later on today, early evening, I'm going to be going down to Nha because I was passing through there on Saturday evening and I just couldn't believe just how quiet that area was. I'll be perfectly honest, Phuket is really quiet at the moment when it comes to tourists. It's just like a ghost town. I couldn't believe the place was just deserted. So we're going to be going down there later on, taking a quick look at Nha because it's a really nice area. So stay with me and I'll be right back after this. Well, we've just arrived at Yon Beach, and as some of you may already know, that this is one of my favourite beaches, especially in the southern part of Phuket, because it's relatively undeveloped at the moment. There are two parts to Yon Beach. The part that we're on now, which is a small sort of cove area, not really much development. There is a small hotel to the one side which has villa type accommodation, but it's relatively expensive to stay there, and I think the last time I looked the rooms were about 9,000 baht. It's very nice accommodation, it's got a small pool, but I do feel the accommodation is quite overpriced. There is also a small restaurant bar, and apart from that, on this area of beach there is no more development, or hasn't been for quite some time. The second part of this beach, as you can see, is over in the distance. That part of the beach has more development in the way of hotels. There's a few shops on the main road, mini marts, etc. So there's a reasonable amount of development over there. Commercialization, if that's what you're looking for, then it's not too far away. But the one thing that I love about this beach is it's always remained fairly original, not overdeveloped, but unfortunately the last 6 months have seen some larger developments starting to take place on this area of the beach, which I feel is a real shame, because there aren't too many beaches now left in Phuket that you can say that either aren't developed or any commercialization, or with very little commercialization on the actual beach. And it's nice to have these beaches if you prefer a quiet beach where you can get away from the general public, shall we say, the crowds. At the moment Phuket is not crowded by any means, and it's very quiet over here, but I think you understand what I'm trying to say. If you want something more natural with less development on, then it's quite difficult now in Phuket to find these areas. And I do feel now that we have already enough development on the island. We don't need to develop it anymore, and I feel that at times now Phuket is becoming spoilt due to over commercialization and over development. On the top of that hill now there's quite a large hotel that's being currently built, and I've watched that being built for the last sort of 6 months, taking shape, and I just feel that it's too much for this area. These are my personal opinions. I mean, you have got this small villa complex here, hotel, villas, whatever you want to call it. That's been here for a long time, and I think that's suitable for this area. It's not overpowering. I believe it's called the Cove, and it is quite expensive to stay there, but it does enjoy quite a secluded spot. I mean, the view that you get, it speaks for itself. You know, it is a fantastic view, and I love this beach because one of the things that I really love about it is most days, Monday to Friday, you can come on this beach, as you can see at the moment, and I've got the beach to myself, and there isn't many beaches in Phuket that you can honestly say that about, so that you can go there most days of the week and find nobody on them. But as you can see, there is now another development just behind these villas that's taking place. So that's two developments. There's always been a few residential homes, as you can see, built into the cliff line, which again I think is okay. It's not overpowering for this area. But on top of this we have a third hotel that's now being built. Just down opposite the bridge that you can see in the distance there, there's a complex being built there. So that means there's going to be a total of 3 more hotels added to this. And of course, once these hotels come, that's going to see possibly developments of shops, tourist shops, and then you're going to have some of the food sellers down here coming to sell food, because as the tourists come, it's going to bring more commercialization to the beach. And I feel there's already enough of those type beaches in Phuket, but there are very, very few beaches left that are actually unspoilt, which is a real shame for the island. I understand that it could be a catch-22. The problem is the island wants tourists. When tourists come, a lot of the tourists want commercialization. They want the shops, they want the restaurants, they want the shopping malls, etc. Find the balance between commercialization and not spoiling the island. Now, my personal opinions on it at the moment is Phuket already has enough developments. It doesn't need any more condominiums, it doesn't need any more hotels, because at the moment Phuket is having a bit of a rough time. Well, I think Thailand in general is, and of course the exchange rate is playing a part in it also, because it does make travelling to Phuket and exchanging money here for the Thai baht expensive now, and your money isn't going to go as far as it did before. Thailand was always known as a very cheap destination, and it still is to a degree. Some parts of Thailand are still very cheap, but certainly Phuket can be very expensive. Now, I do say can be, because a lot of people say Phuket is expensive, and that's not always the case. As I've shown on plenty of my videos, if you're going to stay in a 5-star hotel, then you're going to pay 5-star prices. It's as simple as that. There are other accommodations that are a lot cheaper that you can really save money on, but it's down to the individual of what they want. If they want that luxury, then now you're not going to get it cheap in Phuket, you're going to have to pay for it. But generally food on the island in most of the non-tourist restaurants are the same price. But of course, tourism, as it takes off and grows, people that have got businesses within that industry, in the tourist business, of course they're going to want to make more money. And that's the way of the world, and that's the same not just in Thailand, anywhere you go in the world on holiday. With mass tourism brings rises in prices, and that's what happens. People become greedy and they rise the prices up. Some things you could say that's happened in Phuket in certain areas, it has become expensive, but again I will say that if you shop around and you look around enough, you can still find some reasonable prices and even bargains. But really what I wanted to discuss was the development on Yon Beach, because I do feel it's a real shame. It spoils one of the last few beaches in the south that's got relatively little commercialisation and doesn't need any more because it's not that big. This development now just at the back of the beach is quite a large development. It stretches quite a long way back. That's going to probably be open in another 6 to 12 months. I don't know how long it's going to be before it's finished, but I wouldn't imagine it's going to be too long now. So eventually you're going to have more and more tourists coming to this area, and it's a beautiful area, and it's so difficult to find beaches that are untouched now and areas that haven't got some sort of building work, because nearly everywhere that I travel in Phuket there's some sort of building going on. In fact, at times I've even said to my wife Nat that it's difficult to do a video without having building noise in the background, because it just seems the whole of Phuket is just one great big building site at times, and that's a real shame. There doesn't seem to be any controls over the amount of building, and they're building more hotels, yet I can show you 50 hotels that are half empty, more than half empty. I could understand it if all these hotels, shops and restaurants were full to capacity and bulging and got queues outside, but that's not the case here in Phuket. Most of the hotels that have already been built are actually struggling at the moment for tourism. Phuket has expanded very rapidly over a very short time, and it's got to the stage now where I think there's enough expansion on the island for the current demand, i.e. hotels, shops and restaurants. In fact, I think there's been too much expansion. If you want my real honest opinion, and this is my own personal opinion, I think there's been too much too quickly. Well, I'm really looking forward to hearing your comments and feedback on whether you feel that now Phuket has become over-commercialised, and whether this really does put you off coming to the island of Phuket or not. Of course, also let me know your feelings on the commercialisation that's taking place down here at Yon Beach. Whether you feel this is going to be a good thing, or whether again you feel this is not necessary because of all the other beaches that already have a lot of facilities. And should Phuket be doing more to keep areas such as Yon Beach untouched and unspoilt? They're too quick for you, girl. Okay, that's enough from me for now, and I will catch you in a bit.